we wake, hear the birds and see the sun.
Hello beautiful people, it's Darren here from Art by Darren with another Art Start DIY. Today we're doing a heart banner. We're starting off with this Kaiser Craft MDF photo album. I think it actually was intended for, but what I've done here is just painted it with a coat of Anko blue chalk paint and then hot glued these beautiful little roses on. Now I didn't bother filling the hole on this one, but I will on the ones that are coming up. I'm also just going to use my heat gun here just on a low setting, just to sort of open up the blossoms a bit and make them look a little bit different. Just sort of fluff them up really. Just adding a bit of that gold chain, the copper chain that we had from our Anthropology dupe, and adding that on with some hot glue and then just reinforcing that with a bit of masking tape. That's going to be the top. Now for our second one, I've drawn the pattern out on a piece of paper and written the word love, and I'm using florist wire here to just bend. It bends really, really easily. It's available from Spotlight. And then I'm going to drill 2 holes in the beginning and the end of the word so that I can mount the wire. And now I'm filling this hole with a bit of spack filler, joint compound, whatever you call it. And I'm just wanting to show you this new hand sander I've got. I mean, they've been around forever, but so much better than using blocks and having to toss them all the time. It's such a waste really. So this, you just have your sandpaper, you cut the paper down the middle and then just clip it on, and it's perfectly flat and it does a really good job, as you can see here. Now when you sand anything, you need to wipe off your dust that you have and get rid of it before you start painting, otherwise you'll get it all in your paint. And here you can see, even when you take the lid off your chalk paint, it gets these dried little bits. You want to make sure that's away from your project as well, otherwise you get lumpy bits in your paint and you don't want that. So just using some Folk Art chalk paint here, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats to seal it in. I was thinking of doing a texture just with the paint. I did try a couple of stamps in it. It didn't work out. So I ended up, I'm going to use moulding paste. Now I've seen this product that people have over in the States. It's called ink chalk or something. Anyway, all they've done is put moulding paste, which is what I'm going to show you in a second, in a little tube and coloured it and charged you a fortune for it. Get yourself a tub of moulding paste and then you can colour it whatever colour you like, and you get this raised look with your stencils. I'm using a Spotlight stencil here just so everyone has access to it. It's a little heart shape just to give some texture to the back of this heart. There's the Golden's moulding paste, and I'm using this kind of palette knife. It has a little bend in it. It makes it easy to sort of put the moulding paste on in a flat sort of motion. So you can see here I'm going over a couple of times, but see how it's very flat the way I'm using the palette knife, and that gives you a nice coating of the moulding paste. Pull it off. Ta-da! There we go. Texture. Just grab a baby wipe and clean up any little bits and let that thoroughly dry. I left it overnight to dry. Always clean your stencils off straight away if you're using moulding paste, because it'll ruin them if you don't clean it straight away. Now with the wire, I've just grabbed that copper paint again. I'm not painting it like totally. You can see there's little bits of the yellow left. I did that intentionally because it sort of gives it a little shimmer of light there with that yellow still showing from the wire underneath. And I've bent the ends over of the wire to go into the holes. I should have, if you do make this, leave a longer piece at the beginning than I did. I forgot that that's what I was going to do, so it's a little bit short there, but just pop that through the holes and pop a little bit of hot glue on the back just to protect your walls. I mean, any of these hearts, you could just make one of these and it would be perfect on your front door for Valentine's Day or hanging in your house. I'm going to do 4 different types of hearts today, or 5 really, because there's a little heart on the inside as well that I do a repeating sort of heart. I'll show you that in a second. So there's our love heart. It's heart number 2. With hearts 3 and 4, I've filled them and they've dried, and I'm going to sand them again. And this time I'm going to use some soft gel matte medium and apply that to the top of the heart, and not the sides though, just the very top of the heart, and use some scrapbook paper. This is from, I think it's called Flower Market, is the scrapbook collage paper, and this little wood-like paper as well. Now I let that dry thoroughly. Again, I just left all this stuff overnight to dry, and then we'll come back with the sanding block and sand the edges off. You can see here, I'll flip the paper over, and I'm going to push right along the edge to make sure it's really well sealed there and really well stuck down. I'm doing that on both of them. Now they're dry, magic of television. Just using the sanding block here in a downward motion, it gets the paper off really well and gives you a nice edge as well. And just going around, just take your time with it, going around the corners, sort of do the top and then one side and the other. It does take a little bit of fiddling to get that centre piece out, but yeah, just sand away. So here I'm just showing you a few different things that you could put on the front of these hearts. There's these little laser cutout hearts from, I want to say Lincraft, but I actually think it was Bunnings I got these. They've got some really good craft products now. Just working out what I'm going to put on the front of these. So I grabbed these little gold plate little circles, and I'm using a letter punch, a metal letter punch, and a hammer to type in the words, or hammer in the words, believe in love. And whenever you're doing any of these kind of words, always start with your middle letter and work your way out from the centre. And make sure that everything fits in. As you can see, you can't really see that. Oh, here's my little here's my little clip together stamp. I really like that stamp, so I added some love to my table. It's appropriate, don't you think? Anyway, still fiddling around with these. You can't really see that believe in love, so I am going to add a bit of burnt umber that'll go into the cracks. I probably should have added black. Now I look back on it, it would have been better to get that to stand out. And I am going to add, wipe off most of it and just leave it in the indentations, and then I'm going to add some copper paint to that. My colours this sort of summer, autumn are going to be the coastal blues still, black and white and copper. So adding some copper paint. When you're painting metal on metal, it's always good to go in just one direction, and it all looks seamless then. If you paint each piece the same, just very lightly coating those with the copper paint. I'm going to paint a little couple of laser cut butterflies and one of those little flowers that we made when we did the anthropology heart. Now I've got some macrame. Some string and I've popped it in a plastic bag with some blue chalk paint so that I could get it to the colour I like. Now I hate the way it looks at the end, so I've added a little ribbon there to hide the end two pieces and just sticking that down with some hot glue and pulling that to the bag. Just finishes off the hearts, I think, and carries that blue colour across them as well that I like. That's in my kitchen. Again, adding the rope. putting the ribbon down. This one I'm using the little tags there and attaching them to the wire part of that ribbon. It's got that little wire piece in, and then I'm going to glue it down as well, and that just holds it in place for me. Otherwise I'd have to get, rivets or nails out or something. And I was just like, no, I've got wire sitting right there, I'm going to do that. Added these butterflies. I should have put them up a little bit higher on this piece. And I added the ribbon right where the ribbon was on the piece, and I think it would have looked better if I'd put it down to the side. But, live and learn. I thought it might work, but guess what? No, I don't like it. It kind of looks a bit weird. I should have put it right down to the bottom left there. Now this one, I've got some blue gingham ribbon and these little, what are they called? It's gone out of my head. Little seed, apple pip stems. And I've created kind of a branch, and then I've got this little laser cutout of 2 birds. I don't know if you can see that there. Oh, now these are these little styrofoam hearts that I got from Lincraft, adding some blue and some Castle chalk paint to both of them. Speaking words coming out of my mouth. Come on, let's do it. And yes. So I'm adding those in between my hearts. I'm just trying different placements, and then I'm going to attach these all with some black gingham or buffalo plaid ribbon and some hessian ribbon as well, and sort of create a vertical banner. So here, just finishing up that last one, attaching it all with some hot glue. Round and round we go. Put the ribbon on a different side this time. And there's all our pieces ready for our banner. So I ended up having to lie them down on my dining room table because it was the only surface I had that was long enough. This ended up being about 80 centimetres long. It'd make a great banner for your front door. As I said before, one of these would just be fine as well. So here's the buffalo plaid. I'm gluing that down the centre, and then I am going to go along the edge as well and glue that right down, so I've got a really firm surface to attach our hearts to. We've got that little bit of chain. I'm going to use that in the top one, and I don't think I filmed it, but I did actually put some staples in the back of that top one, so it's very firmly attached. But that hot glue is really good stuff, that Gorilla Glue. As I said before, if you do get one of those guns, just have the American-Australian adapter for your PowerPoint for it, because it is an American voltage. And here's our finished heart hanging up in my kitchen. Yes, don't look at my trim on that window or that anything else in here. The kitchen's on the list for a refresh. When we moved in, it was a wood kitchen that we painted white and added the chrome. I mean, this is 10 years ago now, and so I do want to do a little refresh in this kitchen. That'll be coming up. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that. Happy Valentine's Day, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Bye for now.